Is this the tournament of strange outcomes and possibly breaking some records? When we come back on Garage 33.
Let's face it, this is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
So we've got a bunch of games that we've got to get through. Some good ones, some bad ones, some upsets, obviously, some things that you wouldn't expect to see. So, and a couple of possible, at least on our way to setting some records for the 2026 World Cup. So far from what you've seen, what do you like so far?
I thought teams that I thought were doing better than expected. Honestly thought the USA played really, really well. Wasn't expecting them to look
That's a tough
good.
one to swallow just because it's the US.
Yeah, but they looked good. I mean, these early group games with everything that we've seen so far, I mean, we should probably say that we're like, 85% through the group games at this point, really? We've only got a couple groups left, something like that, right? Yeah, we're getting right to the end of this first stage. So a lot of them are smaller minnow clubs, countries that are playing some fairly big or bigger teams where we should be seeing some, some major difference in talent and size.
We should be seeing some wins that we're not seeing.
Yeah. So there is that. So I mean, for the USA game, I mean, I think that was the game. It was against Paraguay. They should have won, and they did pretty well. Same with the Scotland game. We watched that one too. It was only 1-0. I didn't think they really looked that great, but the team that they're playing should be a pretty standard win.
Should have
really.
been. I feel like they should have played better than they did. There was
Yeah.
like even John
okay.
McGinn's goal. It was he scuffed that ball, and he was lucky that it went in because it deflected off of the defender. But goal's a goal.
The emphatic win that they seem to want us to believe it was. I
think for the most part for that, it was also just the Villa fans going on about John McGinn. So
maybe. And then other than that, I have a job, which unfortunately stops me from watching every single game like I'd like to. So I've missed a bunch. So the Australia-Turkey game I saw was a bit of an upset, with them winning 2-0. So good for Australia there. I was not expecting them to beat Turkey. And then there was the Germany-Curacao game, which obviously there's no surprise there that the result was what it was. For Curacao probably did well to get a goal. That was probably the highlight of their entire tournament. But again, not an unexpected result there by no means. It was the Germans, even a lackluster looking German team, should be banging in a few goals against Curacao.
Yeah, well, I mean, for how far they are at the opposite ends of the table for who they are, I expected Germany to be a little bit better than they were.
Yeah, the rankings are.
I know they don't necessarily mean a whole lot, but I mean, Curacao is a population of 158,000 versus however big. I don't know how Germany's is. I'm going to assume more.
Right. Millions,
And I think a lot of people are still going off the old German team, which they are far from the old German team. They're good.
Yeah, it's hard because German football, it does strike fear into a lot of people because of how good they were for as long as they were. And they are a team that you just never know. I would hate for England to have to play them tomorrow just because it's always the stigma of Germany, like they're a scary team. It's hard to say, like, are they good? Or did they just bang in 7 goals against basically a glorified pub team?
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing about the way how the goals went, I mean, just for the aspect of the Golden Boot, there was only 6 players. There were 6 players that scored, and one of them scored twice.
Only Havertz,
so at least it's just
2, right? Yeah, so it wasn't like, I get your point there, but yeah. So
because we had this conversation before about the problem with having the 48 teams is you're going to have this golden boot could be skewed because one team could all of a sudden bang in
Yeah.
15 goals and one guy could get 5 in one game, right?
I bet you a lot of people put money on, uh, like us, maybe like the Spanish striker, for example, like a Spanish striker, because they thought, well, they've got this tiny nation, we're a great team, we're going to score a bunch against what didn't happen, but you can see why people would
Oh,
think
for
that.
sure. I was a buddy of mine earlier sent me a post about somebody who had bet $1 million on Spain to beat them. And unfortunately, that guy's now out $1 million.
Yeah, but who would have
Well, I
thought
mean,
that though?
that's what I said, like, not in
Like,
a million
really?
years, but I thought that Spain would have drawn.
No, you would have. The odds were in that Lamar would get 5 goals, right, and be in the Golden Boot running from game 1. It just hasn't happened, but that's the World Cup for you. You never know.
So true.
But yeah, the one I was just saying to you earlier on, the game that I didn't get to see that I wish I could have seen that I thought looked like a pretty good one, just from the highlights I saw there, was the Dutch game against Japan. I like that Japan team. I think they're
Yeah, me
pretty
too. I
cool.
actually did see it. It was quite good. It was everything that you would expect it to be. Yeah.
Fast paced.
So,
Yeah, I can
and just
imagine. Well
oh, and
disciplined.
they're both clinical. Like it was back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
you could see them when they're going to each other's ends. You're like, hey, they're going to defend this well, but at the same time, their forwards are skilled and they're pushing hard. So it was back and forth. You're like, I don't know who's going to score first here. Oh,
Yeah. No, it looked like a good even game.
Yeah.
I think that Netherlands team, they're not anything to. You don't want to ignore
No.
them either.
No.
They've got some talent in there, and they could be a bit of a sleeper team.
Well, they've got a
but
long history, right? So, I mean, look back at the 2010 World Cup. They were great. They
Yep.
came in second. Oh,
Yep. No, they're a good little team, but that looked like that was a
It
good
was.
matchup. The two of them seem pretty
I'm excited
even.
to see Japan go through the tournament because they're
Yeah, me
they're
too.
that team that you could see them slowly building over the years. Now they're now at
Yeah.
that point where they're right at that precipice of being one of the really top nations, right?
I think so. I think they're a team no one
Right.
wants to play.
And they're fast.
And I thought they were a little underrated going into it, and I think they've already shown that like they're here to do some damage, and I think they can. The other game that I only just saw that some of the highlights for was a Sweden game, and I think a lot of people also thinking Sweden, went through the playoff to get there. Not a Sweden team that looks particularly good. Sweden of old, I think people are still hanging on that, but I mean they banged in, was it
Yep.
5 goals? Admittedly against Tunisia, but I mean, still, they look pretty good too. And to go back to talking about Spain, I mean, it's the teams that you were expecting to see put 5 goals in wouldn't have been Sweden,
Right.
in the last couple of days. It would have been your Spains, and I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. We got Argentina and Portugal coming up, so it'll be interesting to see if they kind of break this mold of the bigger teams kind of underperforming a little bit.
Well, I mean, like we were saying earlier, the last World Cup, Argentina didn't win their first game in the knockout round either. So
No.
the first round, I guess, doesn't really mean much. Everyone's just getting their feet wet. It's just most teams don't typically hit the ground running, and a lot of these teams that we see, like the big powerhouses that are playing, like the smaller countries, are not doing as well as what we thought. So it doesn't really mean much.
And that's just it too. And honestly, I think if you look back at most countries that win it, they grow into a tournament too. You don't. I doubt most of them really start that strong. It's really you get going, which I can see. I mean, if I was Spanish right now, I wouldn't be overly concerned.
No.
When you see them not be able to have all those chances and not be able
That's
to
what
finish
people are
it,
concerned about.
it's frustrating. Yeah, makes me worried a little bit for the England game, but we'll see.
I think today was probably the first day that I've been super excited about the tournament. Just some better games and whatnot. So I think from here forward, I'm going to be the most excited because, like, tomorrow we've got France and Senegal.
Yeah. That should be a good one. Watch that be
I know, right?
0-0 now. The worst game. That's how it always goes. But there's potential for that to be a really good one, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
And then, of course, the day after, which will be Wednesday, will be the England game, which is what we're here to watch. So
And I'm pretty sure Portugal kicks the day off or is one of the fixtures Wednesday
yeah, I
as
believe
well.
they're afterwards though. Could be wrong. No,
No, game
was it?
before.
Okay.
I mean, they're playing DR
Oh,
Congo. So again, no, I mean, before some of these results, I would have said it's a given, but it's not, as we've seen. Some of these smaller nations are
so how you
getting.
feeling about Croatia? I know we talked a little bit about it before.
Well, we've played them. We played them in the World Cup. We then played them in the Euro. And obviously, we lost in the World Cup when it really, really counted. But we beat them in the last. We had them in the last group of the Euro
Mm.
21. And we beat them. I think that might have been the first game of the tournament too. And we beat them. I think 1-0. I think it was 1-0. And people said, "Oh, it's a weaker Croatia team then," and they looked okay. They weren't great, but I'm pretty sure they beat Brazil in the last World Cup. And I keep hearing, old Croatia are old. Modric is old. These players are old, but it doesn't.
Doesn't mean that-
It's. I'm still. Yeah, it's still. I don't know. They could still do something.
Well, I mean, at the end of the
I-
day, it's whoever shows up that day to play, right?
I mean, England on paper have gotten beat. That doesn't mean anything. It's you just want. I just want to see England come out and look like they're up for it. I don't want to see this, slow paced, struggling to get anything going, letting Croatia dominate the game. If they come out and they look like they want it, then I'll be happy. Doesn't have to be, 3-4 goals. It'd be nice for it to be comfortable. It'd be nice to see a couple goals for sure. But it's more just I want to see that I want to see it that you can see comfortably that like he's picked the best guys here. We're playing good football. Again, we can grow into this tournament. Hopefully we're just going to get better and better. I'll be happy with that for game one.
Oh, I mean, everyone's got some pretty high hopes for Tuchel. It's
Yeah, I do.
but just what you were saying before about on paper they should beat them. Do you not feel like that's how England's been for the last 20
Yeah.
years? On paper, they should beat them, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We had a dodgy spell for a while there, maybe 10 years ago. But I mean, you look at the teams we had from 96 to 2006. Yeah, we probably had on paper, the
Mhm.
favorites for most of the tournaments. We had some really, really strong teams like Golden Generation with, Beckham and Terry and Rooney and all those. Like, we had brilliant team. Just never seem to gel or whatever it was. And I'm hoping that maybe this is it where everything clicks and we've got the best players and we've maybe got one of the better managers now that we didn't. No disrespect to Southgate, but he did he did the best with what he had. We got a Champions League winning manager now who doesn't really seem that fussed by what the press say about him and doesn't pick a team based on who his favorites are or who, the public seems to dictate. He's doing his own thing. So it's only going to go one of two ways, I think, where it's going to work or it's not. And I trust it. We haven't really seen anything of it yet, but you just got to, there's no
Yeah.
point being, a pessimist about it. You might as well be optimistic that this is what we needed and this is what we've got and this is going to
I
work.
do feel like if you go back to like you were saying, like the 2006 with Sven and all the managers in between him and Southgate, that they were basically, I want to say they were more defensive minded and they didn't let the talent that they had do what they could do. And then you got Southgate, who was more open to letting the players do what they can do. And we got more, I'd say, better results out of them for the most part.
He got rid of the club first mentality. I think that was in that England team for a long time, and he got England playing as like an
Yeah.
England team, which was important. We needed that at the time.
Do you feel like it was only England that had that?
Maybe, but you see a lot of these countries, though, the French are always fighting over
Yeah.
something. May not be with clubs, but they always have some sort of beef.
The Dutch, yeah.
Dutch were we're known for it too, but we definitely fell in that camp and in that like 10-year stretch there where we had club players that maybe didn't. I think they've said it. I'm sure I've heard that recently, actually. Someone like Steven Gerrard or Lampard or someone said, you know, it was hard to get along with these guys that were they were my rivals. I wanted to beat them every week, and all of a sudden, just got to try and learn to play with them, and they just put club first. Where Southgate stopped that. That was a big thing with him. So, but tactically,
Not quite
I don't
as
know if Southgate was he's a little bit out of his depth. I think. I think the two finals showed that, where I think someone with a little bit more bravery tactically, God, those were there for the taking, both of those games. The Italy game
yeah. You
especially.
could see moments there where all of a sudden that same mentality of just defend and just don't take
Yeah.
any chances, don't get scored on was
Oh,
definitely there for sure.
yeah. And this isn't a new
No,
take by any means. Like, I think this is what most people think, and I mean, that was, what, 5 years ago now? And it still stings a bit because you saw the potential there to finally get over the line, and it didn't happen, so this is what everyone was crying out for then, I feel like we've
yeah.
got now. So there's no ex I think my thing is there's no excuses now. It's like, this is it. This is our big chance to show you wanted a tactical-minded manager, we got it. You wanted all this young talent that gets along, supposedly that's they're this cohesive team now. We've worked our way up to get to it. We don't really have any excuses
The
anymore.
only thing that I'm worried about now, and it seems so stupid, but because like what we just said about we should have the tactics now. We've got the players now in the dressing room as a nation versus, like you said, fighting with the clubs. With the record, it's not even a record, but compared to the last tournament, there was 2 own goals in the entire tournament, and this tournament now has 3. And I could see something as stupid as that for England to get an own goal and fuck us in the tournament, put us up against somebody that we don't want to play or put us out or something. Not just them. I mean, that could go for any team that's in this tournament. Just it seems to be an ongoing thing, and especially even like something as simple as like last year's red cards, 2 for the entire tournament. This year was 3 in the very first match. There hasn't been any since, which has been good. So maybe that was just kind of setting the tone. But
Yeah, maybe.
um, yeah,
But if you keep it like, if you're looking at it through, like, the England lens with that, we're usually pretty good. I don't think we concede too many, like, own goals, like, mistakes that way, but we do find a way to get fucked over some way, whether it's gonna be a dodgy penalty
well,
or something. I do fear that. It does feel like there's always something potentially. And again, I don't wanna be pessimistic about England in the tournament, but it's easy to think back to, or I should say it's hard not to, can't get comfortable because you can't
yeah.
forget that there's been a lot of that's
Well,
happened, and I'm gonna obviously gonna be biased with it because I am gonna be like, I can't remember a good example, but where a lot of teams would think like, "Ah, we should that was an offside or something." But when we had that Lampard ghost goal, we've had Diego Maradona punch the ball in. Like we've seen our fair share of, and we've been screwed over by penalties and things like that. And like, own goal probably is on the
that's what I'm saying.
cards.
Although
Yeah.
I do find that the own goal thing you can't avoid, but I do find that with the limited number of games that they've played so far, which has been a few, that VAR has fixed some of the refs' decisions for like here's a corner kick, and they said no, it's actually a goal kick, and it's
Yeah.
instant, so it's like they're not wasting any time with it, and then they're getting the right decision. So for aspects like that,
I've said it to you before. I probably even said it on one of these. Like, VAR. I'm fine with VAR. Like, as long as it's quick and it's like a fairly simple process to be able to be like
Mhm.
review done. I hate that it steals the joy of like celebrating a goal or something. Like, I hate that bit of it where they pull it back and then you're waiting and you don't know what's going on. Like, that's what I can't stand. From what you said you've seen, it's been better than we've seen in the
Yeah,
Premier League, for example, and it's been pretty seamless and pretty quick, and Yeah, and that's fine. I like that if it's overturning those things that you're
Mhm.
talking about because it hasn't been called by a referee, then yeah, that's fine. But just it's the goal thing that it's you, you score a goal now and you think I don't want to get too excited about this because it's
Well, I feel like that even just with
takes
the
away.
offsides, you just because you see the celebrating, and then they look
Yeah,
over, and it's usually the guy that scored the goal is usually the first one smiling because he already knew he was offside, even though he was still celebrating, which, like, just
yeah.
turn and admit it, I guess, right? Because
Ugh, and when it's a big toe, it's infuriating.
so far in the tournament, there hasn't been anything bad like that.
No, I can't say I've seen anything where I've thought that was harsh,
Mhm.
or anything like that. But yeah, so far so good. There hasn't been any glaring, unless I'm missing something obvious. I don't think there's been any really glaring mistakes or anything where you've thought someone's got screwed out of something so far.
No, there was a dodgy penalty, sorry, lack of a penalty today. Um, I'm drawing a blank on which game it was now, but the defender came up with his knee and jumped extremely high and caught the guy in the head, and there was no call on it. I mean, I don't think he was looking necessarily, so there was no intent in it, obviously. But it, that's
Decent
right,
game,
yeah.
wasn't it? Was it Belgium?
But yeah, it was just the fact that his contacted his head, and his head wasn't overly low. You know what I mean? So I mean,
Yeah. That might just be one that it could go either way, maybe. I don't think I saw it, but yeah, you get ones like that though. It doesn't sound like it really affected the outcome of the
no,
game
it was just like in
much.
the
No.
moment, I was like, "Oh God!" And then I was waiting for
Yeah.
the call. I was like, "Wow, really nothing?" But then something simple
Yeah.
later on gets called. Like, "You're calling that?"
Yeah. You
So
see that in
yeah,
every game though.
so it is what it is. Either way, I'm excited for Wednesday.
Yeah, I feel like it sort of starts for
Mhm.
us, right? Like this has been a big, long, being the last group, lot of build up, a lot of waiting for your turn. And then, yeah, we get into it. And then I feel like for me anyway, like once England's in it, it feels like it's really
Same.
started then. And then we got a week long wait for game two, which is again gonna feel like forever. But like I said, at least then we'll hopefully have a sense of like, okay, we look good. Bring on the
Mhm.
next game. And it's not gonna be, 6 days of dread that we're worried that Ghana's gonna beat us. Could
Yeah,
be.
anything
We'll have
can
to
happen.
see. I know.
Oh, oh well. Well, the next episode we're going to be recording on Friday, so hopefully that'll be out Saturday morning. So
Yeah, and we would have seen Messi
yep,
and Ronaldo as well.
get a
So there might be some interesting stuff to talk
get a
about
real
after that.
sense of how the tournament might
It would
go
be
after everyone's first.
we'll be right through the
Yeah,
first round of
yeah,
games, right? We'll be into the second round of games by Friday. So you got Canada and I think the US must play somewhere around there as well. I'm not sure when their next
it's,
fixture is. Oh, it's
it's
Friday.
Canada and Qatar on Thursday.
Yeah. Yes. The US is on
Yeah,
Friday. All right.
my
Well,
TSN thing banner won't go any further than that. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see how England plays. Maybe it'll be so. If it ends up bad, maybe there won't be an episode.
World Cup will be
We'll
over.
just cancel it right here. So,
Yeah, we'll just go back to doing Raiders of the
yeah.
Lost Ark.
So, all right. Thanks for doing this. Thanks to everybody for listening, and we'll talk to everybody next time.